Hello, my name is Mr. Buckle. I'm the head teacher of Hartridge High School in Newport Gwent. And I'm here today, I gather, to be interviewed by two of the pupils from Year 7, Samantha on my left and David on my right. I don't know who's going to start, so it's over to you.
What would improve your day at school?
What would improve my day at school? Having more time, David, to do the things that I think I need to do for the school. I find I run out of time very quickly.
Do you think the school needs any changes?
I think the school is doing quite well, but there are some changes I'd make for the sake of pupils. I'm talking now really about the fact that the site is very exposed. The buildings are very far apart, and as you know, recently we can have some horrible weather. What I would like to see is covered walkways between the buildings, so you could walk freely and comfortably without getting soaked or cold. Would also mean, of course, you wouldn't have to bring all the mud in to the building, so you're pretty good about that, really. The other thing I would like are more trees, more flowers. I'd like more colour, more growth around the place.
How do you feel when you arrive home?
Yeah, it's a good question, David. Tired, usually. It takes me about between 20 minutes and half an hour to get home, which does mean that by the time I get home, usually I'm quite normal again.
What improvements would you like to make to the school?
Well, I would like more money for teachers. By that, I don't necessarily mean teachers get pay rises, though being a teacher, I wouldn't refuse one, would I? I mean more money to employ more teachers. I would like to see smaller classes. I would like to think that we could get the class sizes down substantially. At the moment, they vary between about 25 and 30 pupils. Some are over 30 pupils. I'd rather see it around about 20 pupils as a maximum size. So I'd like that. I also, we all want more money, don't we? But I want more money for IT equipment. I think at the moment, of course, we've got 2 IT areas, basically networks. I'd like to see 4 or 5 in the school, so that the pupils could use it rather like a library. There'd be so much IT equipment would virtually go in as if it were a library, and instead of sitting at a desk reading a book, you are sitting at a computer doing work, certainly. And one of my pet ambitions, which perhaps some of the sixth formers will tell you all about, I would like to work as hard as possible to make sure that when pupils leave this school, they can speak for themselves properly and effectively. If you like, in a commercial sense, sell themselves. But I also mean give a good account of themselves as young people. And I think we need to work on that.
Do you think there is enough discipline at the school?
It's a good question, Samantha. I'm not sure how you measure it, right? A couple of things, first of all. Discipline begins inside you, I think, and inside me. Self-discipline. And any other kind of discipline, we call it discipline, right? Imposed from outside is necessary in a school because we've all got to live together. At the moment, 957 of us, plus teachers, plus ancillary staff. We all have to live and work together, so we need some rules, and that's what we mean by discipline. They are no good at all unless you've got your own self-discipline. And self-discipline, I think, relies upon you being able to see that you do have rights, you are entitled to things, but you've got to respect the rights of others. And that, to me, is the most important part of discipline. Right, do we have enough of that? I suppose I should ask you what you think. I think we do. I think this is one of the most disciplined schools I've taught in. And it pleases me. And I think the vast majority of the pupils in this school do respect each other. And I think the teachers respect you and each other. And I think that's very encouraging. So yes, I do. As regards disciplinary structure, how do we deal with what is in discipline? I think we have a very clear structure. We do have rules and regulations, and we do make sure they are carried out. We do keep telling each other about them, and they are there for staff as well as pupils. So we work together, I hope, to make sure that that structure is effective. I think it is at the moment.
Do you think more children should learn musical instruments?
Oh, well, yes, David. I'm very, very, very biased. Yes. I think that music particularly is one of the most important aspects of life. I don't care what kind of music it is. I don't care whether it's metal, rock, jazz, classical, traditional, folk. I love music. I really do enjoy music. All and every kind. And you may wonder why I'm saying I think it's important. Because it's creative. You create in a way you don't do in any other subject. And I think the enjoyment and achievement anyone gets out of playing a musical instrument is unequaled by anything else. Right? I'm biased, I love music, I play an instrument or two modestly, moderately well, and I find as well it's very relaxing, very relaxing. So yes, I think we should. I think music is the soul of a school. And yeah, definitely.
If you were given an extra £10,000, what would you like to use it on?
Partly serious, but partly not. Deposit on a place in Europe for the school. Just a deposit. So that we would have our own place over there, and every pupil then would have the chance to go over there for a week during his or her school life. Right, so a little deposit. We'd need more than 10,000, wouldn't we? Well, if it's only going to be 10,000, I think I'm looking at a newer minibus, probably, because of all the activities that we get up to, including our Mabel groups now. We do need transport, possibly something like that. Okay? Although, you see, having as a head teacher to be very conscious of the budget always, and having said to you, I'd like to see golf and fencing and archery, perhaps we should use the £10,000 to buy some materials. Yeah? Something like that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed, I think they're very good questions. I've enjoyed them, some of them, most of them. They were good, and they were quite difficult as well, some of them. And thank you very much.
I'm Mrs. Townsend, head of Lower School. Lower School consists of years 7, 8 and 9, 550 children in all. They're based in this building for registration periods, but of course they travel all over the school site for their lessons.
What improvements would you like to make to the school?
Well, as mentioned in the changes to the school, I think an extra staircase would help, particularly this building. But if we had an abundance of money, I would like to see another purpose-built restaurant for the pupils of Lower School.
What would you like to see going on in the school?
I think we already have a large number of things going on, plenty of clubs and activities, but perhaps the more unusual sports could be developed, things like fencing or orienteering. This might be an extra source of interest for many of the pupils in doing their lunchtime.
If you were given £10,000 for the school, what would you spend it on?
A wonderful question. £10,000 sounds an enormous amount to us, but when you're thinking about providing for a school, I suppose it's quite a small amount. So, when I think of a priority like another restaurant or canteen, £10,000 wouldn't be enough. So, if I was limited to 10,000, I think I would go for a complete facelift to the buildings, so that we would have nicely decorated classrooms, bright hallways, so that the children feel bright and cheerful as they move around.
My name is Paul Evans. I'm head of the senior school, head of year 10 and year 11. I have 300 children roughly in this building, and I'm responsible to the headmaster for the progress of those children.
How do you feel when you arrive home?
I feel exhausted some days, but I would expect that anyway. I feel very often that it's fulfilling to get home and actually put your feet up and think, well, I've had a good day. I enjoy my job, and I think I'd question myself if I didn't feel tired when I got home.
What is the most relaxing part of your day in school?
The most relaxing, I think, is probably at about 3:10 when I sit down at the end of the day with my pastoral staff, and we look over the day's events, and then we plan the following day. It's an informal atmosphere, and the children are no longer with us. That in itself is probably quite relaxing then.
Where do all the fundraising ideas come from?
We have a very successful pupil committee, as you well know, and they are very innovative in this respect. They think up the ideas. Very often we have suggestions through the post from various areas. The pupil committee then pick them up and put them into operation. Very active and very successful.
If you could bring a new sport into the school, what would it be?
Well, being a former head of the PE department, obviously this is very close to my heart. What I would like to do is perhaps put sport under the heading of leisure. I'd like to introduce things like squash, badminton, trampolining, sports that perhaps pupils will use when they leave school in the area, in the leisure facilities in the area. Perhaps they then would continue to be active when they leave school. I'm very concerned about this sort of thing, and I think perhaps it would be nice if we had a large sports hall and we could teach these new leisure sports.
If you were given an extra £10,000, what would you like to use it on?
Well, I think you can gather from my last answer that I'd obviously like a large sports hall where pupils can actually get in there and try these new sports. But I should also say that I think we would benefit greatly from a well-equipped audio-visual centre. And then pupils and staff could combine together and prepare this sort of thing that we're doing now.
Are there any subjects you would like to teach at Hartridge but are unable to at present?
Yes, I'd like to. I mean, I'll just recap on what we've just said now. I mean, I'm very interested in leisure activities, and I think we would benefit greatly from teaching activities such as the ones I've already mentioned.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
My name is Mrs. Fuge, and I'm head of upper school at Hartridge. My responsibilities are firstly to be responsible for the building, upper school building, to see the maintenance of it and the running of it. And secondly, obviously, the most important part is the welfare and curriculum development for the sixth form students who return to Hartridge. There's a big difference when students come back to the sixth form. Up until 16 years of age, they've had to come to school. But once they come to the sixth form, it's a free choice. They have decided of their own free will to come back. And there are a variety of courses that they can follow. Some come back purely for academic courses, and they do A-level and AS levels in a variety of subjects. And then we have a large number in the sixth form who come back also to follow vocational areas. And we offer such subjects as caring, travel and tourism, catering, motor vehicle, and many other areas. Added to this, sixth formers have certain privileges that they haven't had prior to joining the sixth form. They have their own common room where they are able to make tea and coffee. They have their own sound system, radio. They're able to bring friends in and entertain them in there, coffee mornings. They organise charity events in there. We held.
Do you think the school needs any changes?
No, not present, not really. I think it's lots of things going on in Hartridge. The only thing that we've got to be careful of, that we keep up with all the curriculum development that we can, and all the changes that are coming into education now.
Where do all the fundraising ideas come from for the school?
Well, at Hartridge we have a pupil committee which meets every month, and all these kind of things come up at the pupil committee. We also receive a lot of letters in school from all sorts of different charities, and then these are put to the pupil committee, and then we decide. In the sixth form we have our own charity, our own personal charity. We support a school called Premdam in Calcutta, and we support 2 children there, and we help educate them. And we have charity events in school to raise money, and we send letters to them, and we have letters back from them.
What do you spend most of your time doing in school?
That is split up, I think, to half of my time is teaching, when I'm in contact with pupils in the classroom, and I would say a quarter of the time then is spent in what we call administrative work. That's paperwork, filling in forms, writing letters, that kind of thing. And a quarter then, I would say, is spent with dealing with people, either with the sixth form students themselves when we interview them, or they come in with perhaps a problem, or they want to talk about something, and also talking to parents and outside agencies who want to come into school, or we ask to come into school to help us and give us new ideas.
If you could bring a new sport to the school, what would it be?
Well, I decided when I heard about this question that I'd go and ask some of the sixth formers. And we do have a lot of sport going on in Hartridge, and the facilities outside the school are available as well. But the things that were mentioned were things like basketball. They'd like a basketball team, so we'll have to look into that. And possibly table tennis, but I think perhaps they could have that within their own common room. So I'll have to get busy and see what I can do about that.
What improvements would you like to make to the school?
Well, as you know, I think we can be very proud in Hartridge. It's a very clean site, it's a very clean building, there's very little graffiti, and when it does appear, we clear it up straight away. I think what I would, if I had to add anything to that, would be less dogs on site. We seem to get an awful lot of lovely dogs roaming around, which is such a shame for the dogs. And also possibly try and encourage better attendance, get pupils to come to school to all their lessons.
Do you think more children should learn musical instruments?
Well, what I've noticed in the last few years at Hartridge is, especially in the last concert that we had at Christmas, was the number of pupils taking part, and the orchestra that we've got going now, which sounded wonderful. And speaking for the sixth form, we've got a lot of very good instrumentalists. We've got a rock band as well. 4 of our sixth formers play in a very noisy band, but it's very popular. It's great in the sixth form. And we've also got individual instrumentalists as well. So I would say yes, as many people as possible. If they can learn instruments, yes, to do so.
Do you think the school is too crowded or short of pupils?
I think we are now nearly up to our maximum that we can take into the school. We're round about 1,000, and I think the most we can take into the school is 1,100, and I don't think we want to get any bigger than that. At present, we know pupils in school. I've got the feeling that once you get too big, the teachers don't get to know the pupils well enough, and the pupils possibly don't feel they know the teachers. So once we're up to 1,100, I think that'll be fine.
Do you think there is enough discipline in the school?
Yes, I think the staff at Hartridge and the management team have got a code of practice, as we call it, and the pupils should know, and I think most of them do know, what we expect of them. And if they go over that mark, then they're dealt with severely. And there is, as I say, this code of practice. There are certain stages we go through, and I would hope that this is adhered to. I'm pretty certain it is, and that we deal with it as promptly and as quickly as we can.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Caroline Townsend. I'm head of Lower School. Lower School comprises years 7, 8 and 9 of about 560 children in all. children are based in lower school for registration period, but Good morning, my name is Caroline Townsend. I'm head of lower school at Hartridge. Lower school comprises years 7, 8 and 9 and has approximately 560 children in all. These children register in lower school, but for the majority of their subjects move around the entire school site. Lower school is quite a large building. It is the base for subjects such as English, history, geography, RE. We have a lovely music suite, drama studio, our own library, and information technology suite. It's a canteen where children in years 7 and 8 have a full cooked meal. All those children who choose to have packed lunches eat their lunches.
My name is Mr. Buckle, and I'm head teacher of Hartridge High School in Newport, Gwent, in South Wales. I've been head teacher of Hartridge now for 8 years, so I'm now just beginning my 9th. Hartridge is a large school of 1,000 pupils and over 60 teachers, and it serves a very important area on the east side of Newport. It's very much a working class area, so we're very concerned at Hartridge to ensure that all the pupils have an equal opportunity to develop their full potential. That is the basic philosophy of the school. Their full potential I would want to be realised in terms of qualifications, first of all, so that when they leave Hartridge they can compete in the job marketplace. They can enter good, sound careers and build a fine future for themselves and their families. But it goes beyond that, of course. We want to ensure at Hartridge that our youngsters are developing as people, as individuals. They're developing the right habits of care and concern for each other and each other's property, of hard work, punctuality, loyalty, and so on. And more so than that they can develop together socially and then become good family members, good parents, good husbands, wives, but also good citizens in the community. So there we are, that's the ideal of Hartridge as I see it as head teacher, and that's something I'm very committed to achieving in a partnership, of course, with my colleagues, the staff, with the pupils and with the parents.
My name is Mrs. Fuge and I'm head of upper school at Hartridge, and my responsibilities cover year 11, 12 and 13. Very important years for students at Hartridge, where year 11 are taking GCSEs, C of E's, and then a number of those then return to school to join year 12, where they can choose A-level subjects or now the new courses, the GNVQ courses. I finished. I probably haven't said enough, have I? My name is Mrs. Fuge and I'm head of upper school at Hartridge, and I'm responsible for year 11, 12 and 13. The 3 years where examination results count, and it's the culmination of the end of education for school children. Year 11, it's GCSEs and Certificate of Education, and the end of the National Curriculum, Key Stage 4. If students wish, then they can choose to come back into the sixth form, year 12 and year 13. Some students come to do A-levels, and some come back to do a 1-year GNVQ course. In the building at upper school, we have a very nice large hall where the productions are put on, the pantomimes and the concerts, open evenings. We have a canteen, a very nice canteen. Food is very popular. We also have the Faculty of Languages based in upper school, the chemistry department, the art department. The upper school library is situated in the building, and Oh, damn.
I'm going to say swimming pool.
My name is Mrs. Fuge and I'm head of upper school at Hartridge. In the upper school we have year 11, 12 and 13. Year 11 are completing Key Stage 4 of the National Curriculum and taking GCSE and Certificate of Education exams. At the end of year 11 they can choose then to return to the sixth form if they wish to, either to do a 2-year A-level course or a 1-year GNVQ course. In upper school we have a library, we have a large hall where productions are put on, like the pantomime, open evenings, concerts. There is a very nice canteen, and also we have the swimming pool. The subjects that are taught in upper school are the chemistry. Chemistry is based on the top floor, and the language faculty is also based in upper school, and the art department.
My name is Paul Evans. I'm head of senior school, and in this building we have years 9 and years 10. We have 3 floors in this building, and on the top floor we have the science faculty, and there we have 5 fully equipped laboratories. We also on that floor have a brand new computer suite where we house at least 25 of the most modern computers. Then we move down the stairs to the second floor and we find the technology faculty, and there we have a fully operational restaurant, and their examination pupils of year 10 and 11 serve pupils of our school, staff and very often visitors from the neighbourhood. If we move on to the bottom floor we have the maths faculty and also the gymnasium and hall, and we are extremely proud of our gymnasium, which is extremely modern and very well equipped.